All right, back with the PS2 Slim here. Oh, sorry, dog. So I still can't get the laser to read the discs, and I think it's the laser. The spindle here works perfectly fine. The disc spins when it needs to spin, from what I can tell. The sort of drive here seems to work okay. There's no grinding noises or anything weird. I think what I'm going to do next, I may just have to order a laser, but before I do that, I want to do as much as I can, so I think I might take this out. So just unscrew a couple screws here, pop this out, unplug it from both the ribbon cables, maybe give all these contact points here a clean with some 99% IPA, and then just give the board a once over, kind of look around. I don't see anything obvious, but maybe I'll take it apart further. I think it's just this guy. Everything else seems to work fine. So let's start here. No idea what size that's going to be. Let's try a pH 0. I don't even know if I need to take that one apart. Let's go with this one. It's not that one. Seems too small. Or too big, rather. pH 00. Let's try that one. I can get it out. There we go. All right, pH 00. Let's try that guy. Yep, that works just fine. pH 00. So that's that piece, and I believe it just pops right off. Yep, and you can see this little piece here just kind of guides along that drive and just allows the laser to move wherever it needs to move. So I'm going to set that aside over here, over yonder. And this bar has to come out here. I believe it just lifts out. Oh, I think I need to take this little guy out. Back here, there's another one of those pH 00 screws. I mean, look at how tiny those things are. Good night. Oh, there's a third. The third one right here. So those little pieces just screw in there to help hold that bar down. You may be able to just get away with undoing the front one and not this back one here, but I already did them both, so. Just gonna use tweezers here and this to pull up. Pull that bar out. Looks like it has some, that's probably some sort of grease. Set that aside. All right, and then this guy here connects modify a bail in the back. Can you see that okay? Let's get you in a little tighter there. Raise you up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna sort of undo these bails here, or latches. Not exactly sure what they're called. I've just heard that term used a few times. You should just be able to push up gently on these. Oh no, maybe this is one of the ones that flips up. Yeah, this one just flips up. Be very gentle. I have broken these in the past. They're super fragile. And then I'm just going to use my tweezers to sort of gently rock that right out of there. All right. So here's your laser assembly. So I think what I'm going to do in general, there's that little latch, it just flips down or flips up. What I'm going to do in general, I think, here's your laser, looks fine to me, is just give everything a nice little scrub down with some isopropyl alcohol in hopes that maybe, I don't know, there's some dust in there that's kind of screwing around with it. This out of the way. Just going to very gently kind of go over everything here. Make sure I get inside that little connector for the ribbon cable. Any area I can, really. Just in the hopes that maybe it's some weird issue because it's old and dirty. I mean, this unit is relatively dirty. There's dust pretty much everywhere. So chances are this probably won't do anything at all. But it was easy to do. And now I've taken it apart that much further. You know, helps build confidence a little bit. Just going to drop some alcohol on the laser. I've already cleaned it off. Don't want to do it with a toothbrush, but I've already cleaned it off with like a microfiber cloth. Or not a microfiber cloth, a cotton round. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. Let that dry off. I actually have a fan over here blowing in this direction. I'm going to set that aside. Set the toothbrush aside. Get this back in the shot for you. Okay, so in general, like I said, everything looks okay, which is part of what leads me to believe it's just a faulty laser. There is some dust on this cable here. My wife's actually on her way home from running some errands, and I asked her to pick up some Q-tips so I can kind of clean that off a little bit. Could even use a toothbrush gently. What do I do with that thing? Here it is. Not worried about anything shorting or anything like that, because there's no power running through anything I should say. So that part's been unplugged. Scrub some of that dirt off of there. It seems like this is a little loose. I don't know if it's supposed to be. I imagine it's not supposed to be super tight or anything, but let's try tighten those up just because we're in here. It's not a Phillips 2, that's for sure. About a 1. Yeah, 1 will fit in there. Oh yeah, they're nice and tight. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. So while that laser assembly is drying, maybe I can just unplug this. This one should just lift right up. Just apply a little bit of pressure to each side. Here, shot here. A little bit of pressure to each side of this ribbon here, or to this black piece here, this little connector. And that came right out. And again, it looks fine. I don't really see any problems there. Since I'm here, clean it off a little bit. Being very gentle with all this. As I mentioned, I have broken those little connectors before. I believe it was on a PS3 back in the day. Everything else looks fine though. I mean, I really don't see anything obvious. Not that I'm an expert by any means. I am definitely not. However, just a good visual once over, everything looks all right. So if this doesn't work, that's when I'm going to order the laser. Now you can order the laser by itself or alone. However, you can also order this whole, I guess I can just show you. So you can order this guy all by itself, which is probably what I'm going to do. They're around anywhere from $7 to $9 on eBay. Or you can order this whole assembly here, this, where these 4 screws are, everything within those 4 screws. You can order that whole thing for anywhere from about $20 to $25, again on eBay from what I saw. But from what I can tell, all of that looks fine. So I'm just going to order the laser if what I just did doesn't work, and we'll go from there. So since I'm already going this far and taking it apart, I'm just going to continue to remove the case. And I'll just give the case a good scrub because, like I mentioned, it is pretty dirty. So let's figure out how to do that. Probably going to involve this screw here. And that came out just fine with a Phillips 1 or PH1. Not really sure what needs to be unplugged or unscrewed for this to come out. That guy's just, that's kind of strange. It's just nestled in there. Just popped right out. Okay. Probably one of those screws that's missing. Let's see. If I just apply a little bit of pressure, pulling upwards, you can see that this side seems fine. Seems loose, right? I don't see any screws that appear to keep it down, but on this end, same thing there. So it may just be able to pop out at this point. If I just lift it up, yep, slide it out. Oh, one thing, you probably want to undo this little guy down here. Whether that means you just pop it right out like I just did, or you undo the ribbon cable. Lift it right up. Oh. I don't know what that is, where that goes. Okay, just to look at the back, just kind of looking quickly off camera. Everything looks okay. It looks like there's a lot of residual flux and dirt around. So I might just, I don't know if I need to take off this metal shielding. Seems a little bit unnecessary. But let me just give those connections on the back a rub down with some alcohol and then go wash the case. Otherwise everything looks okay. There you go. So again, is this entirely necessary? Probably not. But I have it apart. I enjoy doing it. And it can't hurt anything. As long as you're gentle. I'm just going around to these exposed sections of the PCB, simply because it looks like there's, like I mentioned, just some residual flux and you know, general dirt from being an old console and all of that. I mean, you can tell the inside is quite dirty. So, figure it can't hurt anything. And flux can be corrosive. So, maybe this will help. You know, dust can be conductive, flux can be a little corrosive. And also just in general, when the boards are clean, I've noticed it's easier to tell what's going on with the soldering joints. If you, you know, it kind of helps you see if any of the joints are perhaps cracked or something like that. It only takes a few minutes and I already have it open, so why not? All right, that's pretty much it. So, let's see, is there anything on here that needs to come off? There's some springs and everything. And I really don't think any of those springs are gonna be affected if I just toss it in the sink. Trying to figure out how this guy opens. So with it apart, when you push that button, it just kind of slides back a little bit. Nothing really happens. That's it. But the top doesn't open. Oh, duh, that's the power button. The eject button here. Yep, so the eject button just slides that mechanism. Allows that to pop right open. You can see all the dirt and everything in there. So, just gonna take it over, give the shell a good scrub down. Let's go. Who doesn't love good slow-mo? Alright, just got it in some soapy water here. See, try to get off some of this goodness. And just general dust. Get inside the Sony logo here. All these little cracks and crevices that haven't gotten any love and probably since it was purchased. So sure, you could just blow this out with some compressed air, and I do have some, but I don't have the little straw to kind of guide it, and I just find it's not quite as effective that way. And I'd like it to be a little bit cleaner than that's going to get. So, we are here. That one aside so I can rinse it off. And then this guy, same thing. Try and get all that dirt off. Whoopsie. not too worried if any of these labels come off. They're not in great shape anyway. Like this one here. But if it stays on, it stays on. Haven't decided. I'll probably take them off eventually. Right now I just want to get the console working. Alright. So that's all I have to clean right now. I don't even think it needs to soak, so I'm just going to dump this. Give it a good rinse. Same thing with the top. I also don't want to soak it because I left those screws and springs in there. Just a quick wash is probably not going to do anything as far as rusting them, but leaving it in there probably could. Alright. So that's that for now. I'm going to let those, I'm probably going to toss them in the dish rack and just let them dry for a little bit and go from there. So I'm not sure where those plastic pieces go. It's just these little tiny guys here. 1 and 2. As far as I can tell, they're not integral to the function of the console, so we're going to plug her back in and see if she works. Back on the ground here, we have the console, so we're just going to plug everything in and see if she works. See if I fixed anything or I broke anything. That's good, we got a red light. Plug the controller in. And again, inarguably the best game ever released. Probably in the multiverse, regardless of any console. Just gonna toss that in. And then I'm gonna grab something here to compress those 2 levers. All right. So power's on. You can hear and see that she still powers on. This is good. Right back down here. So you guys can see me compress those 2 levers. And we'll see what happens. So again, it's just one here, right behind the LED. Sorry, right behind the power button. There's one back here in the back. So I heard the laser move, the disc spins right up. Would you look at that? You guys can't see it, but this is glorious. All right. So I'll stop that. And with the PS2 and a few other consoles, as far as I'm aware, if you open the lid while the game's playing, it won't immediately shut off. So look at that. I almost ordered a new laser and it wasn't even necessary. All I did was take it apart and clean it just like you guys saw. Perfect. I'm gonna find that Nemo. But before I do that, I gotta put it back together. So that's next. All right, we're back with the clean shell. You can see it cleaned up quite nicely. You remember there was a big splot of something there. Remember the inside was absolutely filthy. Under the shell, same thing. Tons of dust. It's all nice and fresh. And same goes for the bottom. Cool. Alrighty, so I'm just going to toss her back together then. So this was the bottom of the motherboard. I'm going to tip that back over. Don't know where that came from. And you can see the controller ports here are in the front on the left. Controller ports are in the front on the left. And basically the way you have to get it in there is you just kind of angle it, like maybe a 40-degree angle, 45-degree angle, so you can get the controller ports in there. This guy, get out of your way. And this should just slot right in, just like that. Cool. And I remember there was a big screw. Right in here. Okay. Bring it in closer. All right, it's a big screw down in here. Oh, nope, wrong one. That was one of the screws for the outside shell. This guy was here. Okay, nice and easy. This guy just rests right there. Nothing too fancy. And then this piece was over here. It was just rested in there. All right, gotta put the laser assembly back in. So this little lever, just lift up like that, and it's gonna go in sort of upside down. Might be easier to do it this way. Okay, got it in there. I'm just gonna push it in with some, oh shit. Want to push it in there with even pressure. It's in there all the way now. And close that little latch. Just like that. And that is in there. It'll rest just here. And we'll actually be up here for now because I got to connect this ribbon. Oh, got to charge a battery. All right, let the battery charge a little bit and we're back. So, I was just putting the laser assembly back together. So you can see I got it in here. I got that bottom ribbon cable plugged in. And over on this side, we're going to need some parts from earlier. So we're going to need this little guy. We're going to need a drive. This little guy. Oh. Okay. So this little guy is going to go right back here. And that was a pretty tiny screw. Not a PH1. Need PH00. Good luck finding one of those tiny guys if you drop it. Oh, okay. I see. Oh. Okay. So these, so you want this little sort of notch side down like that. Then these two little holes line up with two notches right here. Keep everything where it should be. And that screw will find the hole nice and easy. Okay. And that bar is going to go right through here. Take off some of that dust. Just like that. And these little guys. So these little guys are going to go one here and one here. And you want them oriented like this. So that little notch here is going to press against that metal rod we just inserted. Just going to grab some tweezers here to make this a lot easier. It's going to go right about there. And the other one goes here. These things are so tiny, I can't even tell if it's going in cocky or cockeyed. Cattywampus. There we go. Last of these tiny little buggers. For whatever reason, maybe this is supposed to be that's how it is. That's right. Man, this thing goes on 2 little posts as well. And if it's not lined up exactly right, there we go. As you can see with my screw, the tension of the laser assembly will push that little turd right out of the spot it's supposed to be in. All right, that seems to move okay. So, if I remember correctly, all I gotta plug back in before I can start her up is this ribbon cable down here in the bottom. So right here. And that bail's already up from the last time when I unplugged it. So, just gonna kind of slide it in there all nice and gentle like. So it feels like it's There we go. That was the problem. It wasn't open all the way. Alright, so it's in there now. Push it down. It's kind of like ram sticks, actually. You just kind of got to line it up perfectly, push it down on both sides, and then it closes up. Okay. So these little pieces of plastic here, I'm not sure where they go. Be right back. I'm gonna go figure that out. So it's the next day, and if you remember from the last section of this video, which thanks to the magic of editing, you wouldn't know it was yesterday, except for now you do. You'll remember that I got it working. Okay, I took it apart, cleaned it, used some IPA on the boards, took the laser out, used some IPA there, put it back together, and it spun up a disc first try. So I'm just going to put the whole thing back together, and then we'll go for a final shot of it working, and that'll be the end of this one. So really all you have to do, what that is, scratch or something, is just kind of rest the shell on there. So this front part kind of slots on there first at an angle, just like the motherboard did. And then it should, yeah, just compress down like that. You can see. Almost got everything down. There are these little tabs right here. There's one there and one there. That's just what it's not coming over right now. There we go. Now we're good. I'm gonna flip it over. These screws were PH1s, I believe. Yep. So it's these little guys here, and they are, see that one? It's PH1. There's one here. So the only reason I'm really even considering leaving this dilapidated sticker on there is so that I know which model it is. But like I said, I may end up taking that off anyway. In case you're curious, no, I did not end up putting these last two little plastic pieces in there. These guys. I'm not sure where they go, and I'm just too excited to play and to show my wife, because I told her that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fix it yesterday, even though I knew it was fixed. This guy's going there mighty tight. That's actually her Finding Nemo game that I was using for testing. I think I mentioned before that I pretty much gave all my games to my sister when I moved in with my wife, because I just had a lot of physical media, and at the time I figured, well, I'll just go all digital, or primarily digital. And you know, as things go, now I'm sort of regretting that decision. Only because I'd like to have my physical media back, at least a lot of what I had, not necessarily all of it. But I'm sure my sister's gotten some good use out of it. That part I don't regret. So that's 5. And then the 6th one is under this label here. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but my dogs are barking at a neighbor cat. So I'm gonna go get them. All right, the beats are back inside, so let's just get these last little rubber plastic guys on. Okay. So the rubber and plastic pieces are not identical so far as their insertion points go. So you can see this one up here is one of the rubber ones that has those 4 little nubbins, and then this plastic one here has 8, and 4 are longer than the other 4. So those correspond with markings on the actual shell to let you know where those go. So why there had to be 2 different type of these things, the world will never know. And actually, there's supposed to be one there, but that was missing when I got the console, so no biggie. As well as some of these screws. But let's have a good once over. So, it looks much fresher than it did before. I gave it a good scrub down with some dish soap and warm water. And then this screw here was missing when I got it. The screw here was missing when I got it. Screw there was missing when I got it. Front looks a lot cleaner. I didn't really go into the ports at all, so you can see they still have some dust on them. But I don't think that'll be a problem at all. And the top shell had a big smudge of something or other there. Got that all nice and fresh. The inside was covered in dust. All nice and fresh as well. So, let's get her back on the ground and see if she runs. And we're back here for the last test. So everything's plugged in. Just gotta turn the game, or put a game in. And you already know what game it is. Turn her on. Get you guys a shot of that glorious boot. right into the game. First try. Alright, so no memory card. Please insert a memory card. Do you want to start? Yes. Starts right up. Cool beans, guys. So, who knew THQ played Finding Nemo? Everything's working great, so I'm stoked. Can't wait to rebuild my collection. Wife will be stoked that she can play Finding Nemo of all the games in the world. And I think that'll end this one. So, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. You know where that goes. And as I mentioned, I'll put in links in the description of the tools I used, maybe even the replacement power supply that I got, things like that. So cheers.